Welcome back. In the studio, we have Mr. Obum, who is actually here to talk about the high cost of living in Nigeria in regards to the rent and how it is affecting our daily lives and regulations that should be put in order to checkmate the issue of paying house rent and how expensive it gets over the years. Welcome to the studio.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so let's look at the what aspect do you think the government could actually help in regulating rents in Nigeria in order to help, people from paying exorbitant amounts for houses?
The government should be able to develop rural areas because of the with this urbanization. See, everybody wants to be where things are happening. People flock to the cities that are already urbanized. So, but with government, developing rural areas, they provide the housing, provide the amenities, provide the social infrastructure. It will decongest the urban areas. And you see, because of a shortage of rental accommodation, because they will not meet the pressing demands of people that flock to the urban, it brings about the exorbitant increase. So the landlords cashing on that, because of the shortage to hike the rental cost. So what government should do is to begin looking at the villages, hinterlands, and rural areas. If all these facilities in town are made available there, then people may no longer flock to the major cities. A long time ago, places like Kubwa in Abuja were being occupied by majorly low-income earners and middle class because of the high cost of rent in some other high-profile areas. So, but with time, when those areas become developed, government started looking at some other areas, and then with that, people go there and then start going to work from that place to the major cities. So if government will provide all those facilities and they begin to develop housing in rural areas, it will help to reduce the effect of high cost of rent. And I think the government will do is to provide loans to help investors and prospective developers so that the cost of building will not be too much on them. So if government will provide that, and even some low-income earners can also think about building their own houses. Government also needs to provide incentives like reducing the cost of land, like in government-owned lands. If they make it affordable, people can easily procure lands for development purposes. Government will also look at the forming policies that regulate rent prices. Such policies will make it difficult for, like a regulation of the rent prices. If the government will regulate rent prices, the landlords will no longer be at ease, at liberty to fix rent arbitrarily, because some of them see it as only means of income. But if government will have a kind of regulatory agency or policies on issue of rent control and fixing of price, then it will help to reduce the cost of rent. And they have to also place fines and sanctions for the defaulters. So if any of the landlords, government also will look at the issue of building materials. Government can look at that sector, production of building materials. When government subsidizes, like they give at subsidized rates, like production of cement and all the rest of them. Some of those things used to be there long time ago, but unfortunately, this time around, some of those sectors are neglected. So, if government will embark on building materials, the production of building materials, and make them affordable and easily accessible to developers and builders and investors, it will help to reduce the price or the cost of. And then also government will also look at issue of the taxes or issue of tenement rates charged on landlords. Some of these things also increase the cost of rent. For instance, some time ago, there was an increase in Enugu here, and our landlord came with his own rental increase. Said, so when we protested, he said, "No, look at what we are being charged. Don't you see the poster or the police pasted at the gate? That by the time you add this thing to what you are paying, that what you are paying it doesn't no longer make sense." So, if government will look at that particular thing, and the issue of some people getting lands, registering the lands, that is registration of land, getting of approval plan, and all the rest of them, all these things will also increase. And then the final burden we go to the tenants. The financial burden we go to the tenants. So if government will put all these machineries in place, I think we should go to a larger extent to reduce the cost of rent and reduce the burden on the tenants.
I mean, you've highlighted some of these issues, but it's easier said than done, like you say. I mean, you say these things and it sounds really good on the surface, but it's nearly impossible to implement because, again, just like our last guest said, that some of these implementation will be done by government. Some government officials are involved in housing estates. You talked about building houses in the villages so that you can stop rural-urban migration.
Yeah.
I mean, where we are was once a village. I mean, if you put a tarred road in the village and put street lights, I mean, it automatically becomes the city center of some sort.
Yeah.
So it's not even guaranteed that if those places are developed, that houses are going to be cheaper in those places. I mean, just put one road through any village, put street lights, put some security. House rent in that location automatically increases, whether it's an old building or a semi-old or even a new building. Rent in that area automatically increases. You mentioned population. The movement of people from one place, or people would always move. You can't stop it. People will move from rural to urban areas. You can't stop it. People will go to rural areas when they want to go to. Maybe they don't even have an opportunity to move to urban areas. They stay back in the villages and live there. But trust me, because of the amenities, the opportunities in the urban areas, people would always go to the urban areas. You can't stop it. So it's a harder-headed issue. The government you are looking up to, individuals playing government, they are the ones that own these properties. We also have properties in Enugu that are empty. People are not renting it because of the high cost in rent. So you'd ask yourself, what do we do in this kind of situation? It looks like it's a logjam. You take your left turn, it's a problem. Take your right turn, it's a problem. Try to move forward, it's a problem. At the end of the day, the consumer is the one who is hardest hit, because whatever tax you are giving to the landlord just pushes it to the tenant who must pay for it, because if you don't, he kicks you out. And there are also people who have the money to pay. If you're not getting in the house, the next set of person who comes in would take it, and so you start regretting that you should have taken that particular house. So it's a very important need. The government does not seem to in any way try to create policies, and even if there are policies, they don't implement it. Where do we go from here?
I believe with God all things are possible. The government has the capacity to do all these things. Where the problem lies is seeing the need. Seeing the need. They say that necessity is the mother of invention. You see, some of these things can be corrected if we can be honest to ourselves when we are voting people into positions of power. We look for people who are capable, people who are visionary, people who are people-oriented, people who that can feel the pulse of the teeming population of the country. If they see that as a need, as an area of interest, government can always embark on housing or do things that will provide an enabling environment for even private developers and investors to carry out the issue of building houses, especially for the middle class and the low income earners. So it is seeing the need that is the problem. Oftentimes, we vote wrongly. And the people who are supposed to be there, people who will see the need, are not given the opportunity. These things we are talking about, you know, formerly, during the colonial days, I was not born then, and even after that, the government of those days were embarking. The governments of those days were embarking on housing. You see, government has building houses here and there. That's why you see some people, those in police, army, and all those, they have army barracks, police quarters, and all the rest of them. Even civil servants. It was during the time of Obasanjo, when Obasanjo was in power, that these houses were monetized. And people, the owners there, people were given the privilege of occupying. If you are already there, that's what the language they talked about, owner occupier. So you are given chance to see if you can purchase it, and then it becomes your own. So if government sees the need, if they see the need, I mean, it won't be a problem. But the problem is that it appears that the governments, in quote, of the modern time, they don't see that as a need. Even there was a policy enacted by Jakonde in 1994 on housing. That policy was meant to cater for teeming population of public servants. Every month, from your monthly salary, 2.5% of your basic salary will be deducted at source, and the money being saved in the mortgage bank for the purposes of building houses for the civil servants based on their grade level and all the rest of them. Unfortunately, that policy, the money has still been deducted up to date. All civil servants, whether it's in the federal or state anyway, I mean those in the public sector. So, but the monies being deducted are not actually being utilized for that purpose. And where it is used, oftentimes the civil servants will not be able to afford the exorbitant prices or exorbitant cost. It is still people of the upper class that will go for it, leaving those people who are contributors. There was a time they were crying over the media that trillions of naira, can't be exact now, it's been a long time, of naira, trillions of contributors' money have been floating in the mortgage bank. That is the bank where the monies are pooled. So, sometime I went to, about 5 years ago, 5 years or more, I went to the mortgage bank here in Enugu to ask them question on issue of our contribution and to complain that as a civil servant, some of us have not had anything and that we're not actually benefited from that scheme, and our monies have been deducted for more than 20 years. They gave their own explanation. After giving the explanation, I saw that there was no hope for us. Some time ago, I also heard that some properties were developed from that housing fund being paid by civil servants. But that money, they utilized part of that money to provide some housing. And but the price will be so high that those people contributed the money will not be able to afford it. So it defeats the purpose for which the contributions or deductions are being made. So everything boils down to government seeing the need.
Do you think lack of jobs in a place like Enugu is problematic? Is a reason why people are backed or are so invested in making extra monies from rentage?
Can you repeat what you said?
Do you think the lack of jobs, lack of available jobs in a place like Enugu or even the southeast is one of the reasons why most people are invested in properties? So much so that for one property you can even have 10 persons who are agents of that particular building. one person who doesn't have this kind of specification of this person goes to call the other person, and so the lineup sometimes gets up to 10. And so when the monies are paid, the agency monies is these days even almost half of the rent, itself. So you think lack of jobs is also one of the things that's fueling the agency racketeering market?
What you are calling agency, for you to be an agency, you have to be registered.
Absolutely.
You get my point? So the type of agency you're talking about here is, let me use the word illegitimate or unorthodox. Everybody is posing as an agent, whether registered or not.
Absolutely.
So, on the perspective of a registered agent, it is in their line of business to deal on the issue of property, and they pay taxes to government, and they are regulated to a very large extent. But on the issue of this, where we have more problem is on the issue of these unorthodox agents. Everybody is now positioning himself as an agent under an agency, in quote. I won't ascribe it totally to be as a result of lack of job. One of the drives is quest for quick money.
Quest for quick money.
Quick money. They want what they call Igom Mabute. I don't know whether you are Igbo. They say that people don't become rich by Igom Bata. Igom Bata is when the money is coming in, maybe in tricos and so on, in tranches. They want money to carry money bags, because when you get so, and they don't mind the regulation. Of course, they may not even know about the regulation on the issue of agency. It is based on negotiation or whatever you agree. You came up agree upon. So it is not like there are so many things you can do. There are so many things somebody can do. It's not just a result of. It's not merely as a result of.
So many things you can do, including agency job.
No. What I'm saying is that the issue of agency, it is subject to when you find land to sell now or property to sell or to market, and some people have abused that particular activity. A land that is in court, you go and sell, have a property somewhere, and somebody knew that land is in court, and people are hanging around there to sell the same property. I did get my point. So, and at times, the land may have some problem. Like now, if you go to, before somebody should buy a land, he has to look at it and know the proposed clause. Why that land, what that land is meant for. A land that is meant for, what do you call it? Industrialization. You're not supposed to go there and sell it as if it's for development of personal residential houses. You get my point?
Yeah.
And some of those places, some of them already in the master plan. Some of those places are areas where you have high tension or low tension and all the rest of it. Some people will be aware of all these things. For the mere fact that those things are not already on ground. You see what is happening now? What was demolition here and there? Because the developers, those people who eventually enter there, they may not be aware of the existence of some of those things, and some of those things can lead to some unpleasant consequences. Either government demolishing certain things after the building must have been erected, and so on and so forth. So it is not actually scarcity of job that is propelling some people to go into agency. But there can be few exceptions, but it's not majorly that. People want where they will go and get quick money.
I mean, even someone who is registered, would you say it's quick money?
No,
you're registered, and you're also
those ones are
quick money.
legitimate.
Yeah.
Those ones are legitimate. But what I'm saying, some of these, if you like, work agents, there are people that are involved in some of this. Because if you're a registered agent and do something that is against the law will clamp on you. Because you're supposed to be enlightened, you're supposed to know the right thing to do.
But then because of the deficit in housing, sometimes some of these ones you refer to as quack see the need to play in that field, because even the registered ones have failed in their duties.
Exactly.
I mean, I'm looking for a house in Tinker's Corner. I wouldn't be waiting for somebody who has a proper office located, but I could just call a friend who knows a friend who can get me to a house immediately. Even you want something quickly, and quickly done so too. So is it in the patronage of these people that is making them thrive? Because if you don't thrive in something within 1 month or 2 months or even 3 months without any prospects, you are going to pack up. So, but when people are patronizing you, even when you are unregistered, when I was looking for a house, I'm not sure I even checked if the person who I was following to look for a house is even registered. I just followed somebody who gave me somebody's number that I know somebody that knows somebody. All I knew was that all the places we went to look for a house, I needed to pay them. Even when I drove in my vehicle to take them, I needed to give them something, and I know how much I spent taking them from one place to another. This person meeting this person, and it's crazy looking for a property to rent, especially in this part of town. But on a general sense, do you think reduction in patronage, or even outrightly not patronizing these quacks, would make them go away, so that we can actually have some sanity in that field?
Patronizing them may be important, just like you explained, but one has to tread with caution, because invent a problem, they may not be there to solve the problem with you. You get my point? You can't do without them. In the context of our country, our nation, Nigeria now, some of those people they are very serviceable. They are very easily reachable and accessible. They solve some problems, but at times they also create problems. So the only thing is that one has to tread with caution when you are dealing with those people. All these the need may not be actually met by the few registered organizations or few registered realtors. You get my point? They may not be able to meet the need, the urgent and the timely need. So they may still be very useful in the context of the condition of our country now. Though in the eyes of the law, they are cheating the government, because all those monies they collect, they are supposed to pay tax or give some portion to the government. But the entire money is taking hold and put into their private pocket. So the services may be necessary.
Right.
Though it is not recognized by law.
Are there punishments or rules guiding punishments basically against agents that are not registered when caught doing jobs like this?
Well, there may be. I'm not an authority in that area, but all I know is that I don't know if I say this now, it may give some it may give some secrets to some people, some mischievous people, but I have to say it because the truth may be bitter. It is important we say the truth. To the best of my knowledge, if there is any law, I have not seen it being implemented. You get my point? I've not seen it being implemented. But I know that if somebody is not a registered agent, and you transacted business with the person, in the event of somebody defaulting in paying that agency, the court will not view that person, as when the matter is taken to court, as a registered agent. And
you may lose your money.
You may lose your money. You get my point? You may lose your money, or the agent himself will not get anything if he gets to court. Court will not judge in his favor because they say, "I've been issue. You are not recognized as a registered agent." You get my point?
Yeah.
So these are some of the.
But what role do you think the landlords also play, in the use of some of these agents as well? Because again, we're looking at it from the angle of a consumer trying to get an apartment. But we also know that landlords also would have a role to play. Sometimes landlords don't even want to go through registered agencies because they are meant to do the right thing. And sometimes because of the fact that the law actually help in guiding their actions, say for instance, if 3-bedroom flat within this access shouldn't go beyond this, it is the law, you can't do that. But the landlord would rather go for somebody who says, forget that thing, where did they talk? The economy doesn't speak to those issues. 3-bedroom flat, I can get it for you out there for 1.8, even though we know that, the worth of that property maybe is around 800 or 1.2. Do you think that the landlord also have a role to play in these kinds of things?
Well, landlord, it depends on the landlord. Some people may decide to go through those backyard agents, depending on what they intend to benefit. If they feel that it is better for them to go through all those unrecognized agents, those agents not recognized by law, it depends on the landlord. So it is a matter of choice.
No, but should landlords be patronizing them?
In the eyes of the law, as a landlord, I don't think it is right for landlords to patronizing them, but it's not always the case, because they may be the people that will connect you to the prospective tenants easily. They can, their network is so superb. They can easily connect you, and their own terms, in terms of financial transaction, maybe negotiable. You get a point. Mm-hmm. What the accredited or authorized agents will take may be higher than what the landlord is ready to part with. Mm. So if these people come, like somebody is in that need of money, it's 5%, but the law may say 10% or 15%. The government may feel this money is too much. So they look for people in the fair deal, what they consider as fair deal. So they can make use of them, though it may not be correct in the eyes of the law.
Yeah. You hardly see people get punished for defaulting in house rents, issues. You hardly see that happen. I mean, it's not like you stole something and then you are caught, or maybe there was an issue, there's a transaction that happened and then you dupe somebody. But in the cases of house rents, we've seen clearly people exploiting people. I mean, it's clearly an exploitation. It's not. There's nothing. There's no negotiations with it. You see a house that is supposed to be 1 million, but they're telling you it's 2.5 million. And if you don't want, somebody else is going to come and pay for it. It's exploitation. So you wonder really. You don't see people get arrested for these kinds of things. You don't really see it happen. Maybe in the police station to people to go and even try to test matters in court, or maybe even take it to the police station for the police officers to settle the matter or something. You rarely see that happen. But then, how does one navigate these issues? So in a situation where, you wouldn't be a victim of extortion and exploitation, because there's nothing to
by the landlord. Is it by the landlord or by...
Both. Sometimes landlord. The reason why a landlord will go through an unregistered agent is because he wants to make more money. The reason why an agent will tell you, don't bother, this, don't worry, I'm going to put it at this price, at least whatever it is. He will run into the street and get people to, get the house. So both for the agents and even for the landlord. I mean, they are just go out there exploiting people, and none of them has been made a scapegoat about this matter.
You see, I heard you mention police. Police, it is not within the powers of police to handle rental issues.
It isn't?
Yes, it isn't. Because police, their duty is majorly to their own areas. Area of jurisdiction is more of prevention of crime, implementation of laws and others. And in short, we have systemic breakdown in Nigeria. These laws are not actually, either it's not in place, even when it is in place, they are neglected. So what government needs to do is to go back to the drawing board, if they have interest, to begin to look at issue of rents, issue of landlord, issue of agency, and then they come out. They revive all these things and strengthen it and begin to enforce it. Then it begins to work. But if government is not doing anything about it, the status quo remains. You get my point?
Yeah.
So, on the issue of government, the police is involved in criminal matters. At times they use police to intimidate people.
Well, it's criminal for you to extort people through in the name of renting your apartment.
Let me tell you, it is not police that will decide that, it is the court. If you have any issue on rent, or an agency, you take the matter to court. And the way Nigeria system is, most people are either afraid of going to court. They don't want this issue of come today, come tomorrow. You get a point. And some of them may not have resources to get the services of a lawyer that will pursue that case. Have you got my point? And you are not sure what is going to happen in the court, because when you get there, it may be an issue of the highest bidder. Have you got my point? So when it comes to that, some people may decide to end it, except you are ready to pursue the matter to a logical conclusion. Except you are ready to pursue it. Have you got my point? Otherwise, some people will just decide, let me part with this and then look for other things to do.
So how do you avoid exploitation as a consumer who is looking to rent an apartment?
How to avoid? How you say how to avoid?
Yes. Or you think that it's not possible to avoid it?
To avoid it, it means that one has to tread with caution. You have to carry out. You have to investigate. There's one language they use: caveat emptor, buyer beware. So you have to, for instance, if you are buying a property, you can go to lands.
Yeah.
You can go to lands and they do what they call searching. It is not free. For a property that is not a virgin property, a virgin land. Maybe it's a land, it is a building, it is a house or anything. You go to lands and do what is called, if it is a registered property that is registered, look at it to see the status of that property, the two owner and all the rest of them. You can also carry out your own independent investigation. You get my point?
Right.
You can carry out your independent investigation. You can also make consultation, with the people in the sector for guidance. You get my point?
Right.
So that is it.
Okay. I want to say a very big thank you to you, sir, for your insights on the issues regarding rent in Nigeria. Obum Mazi is a paralegal personnel. What does that mean? When you say paralegal?
Well, that's not my major profession.
Okay. What's a major profession?
Well, I'm just an accountant and an auditor.
Okay.
But recently retired.
Okay. By
reason of length of service. I'm still below the statutory age of 60.
Okay.
And I'm also involved in paralegal. Paralegal means that I'm not a lawyer, but we are tutored in matters of law.
Okay.
So we can guide people in matters of law by virtue of belonging to the human rights group and all the rest of them. So they drill you on how to handle issues and how to counsel people in certain situations. People are those who are an issue of rape cases, such as if somebody comes to you, you know how to advise the person. A child that is defied or raped and all the rest of them, wife and husband battery, and so on and so forth. So
all right.
That's it.
Thank you so much once again for your time.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. God bless you.
All right. We're headed for a short break. When we return, we'll continue to stay with us.
Save Nature TV. News in your pocket.